Welcome to another episode of NACIC Bible Stories. Shh, lean in for a moment. Imagine you're standing on a hilltop so high you can almost tickle the clouds. The wind hums in your ears, sheep bleat below like tiny squeaky toys, and the sun paints the land in gold. On that hill stands a man with kind eyes and a walking staff polished smooth by many miles. His name? Abram. And today you'll discover how God's blessing on Abram didn't just end with him. It overflowed to others, because Abram chose peace. Are you ready? Let's begin. Long ago, when cities were small and stars felt close enough to count, Abram lived with his wife, Sarah, and his nephew, Lot. One night, when the world was quiet and only the crickets were singing, God spoke to Abram. Abram, God said, get out of your country, leave your father's house. Go to a land I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, and through you, all families of the earth will be blessed. Abram's heart thumped. Leave home? Go where? God didn't give a map or a street address. He gave a promise, and promises from God are better than maps. Abram chose to trust. He woke before sunrise, the sky still purple, and packed tents, ropes, and jars of water. He called out, Sarah, Lot, we are going where God leads. And so, at 75 years old, yes, 75, Abram took his first step into the great unknown. Step, step, step. Each footprint said, I trust you, God. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Their caravan wound through sandy paths and rocky ridges. Dust puffed up around their sandals and drifted away like tiny clouds. Abram's sheep and goats jingled with bells. His camels plodded patiently, carrying bundles of supplies, blankets, woven rugs, cooking pots, and little treasures Sarah loved. At last, they reached a place called Canaan. There, under a sky so blue it looked freshly painted, God appeared to Abram again. To your descendants I will give this land, God promised. Abram built an altar, a simple pile of stones to worship the Lord. He didn't own the land. He didn't know all the details, but he knew the one who did, and that was enough. Abram knelt and prayed, Thank you, Lord, I trust you. Time passed, then came a crunching, crackling season, a famine. Grass turned brittle, streams thinned to trickles. The animals mooed and bleated, hungry. Food was scarce. Abram led his family to Egypt, where the river Nile spread like a green ribbon through the land. In Egypt, God watched over them. Abram, Sarah, and Lot found shelter. They traded and worked, and God blessed them with good things. More animals, more servants, silver and gold. Their camp grew like a small moving village. You could hear laughter at cooking fires and see lanterns flicker like fireflies at night. One day, Pharaoh, the ruler of Egypt, sent them away, peacefully, not angrily, telling them to take everything they owned and go. So Abram, Sarah, and Lot left Egypt, with wagons creaking under bundles and herds so large they sounded like a living river. They returned to the south of Canaan, back near the places where Abram had first built an altar. Abram stood in that familiar spot and called on the name of the Lord. The same God who guided him out, guided him back. Now here is where the story gets knotty. Like a rope pulled from both ends. Abram and Lot both had many animals, so many sheep, so many goats, so many camels. Each day, shepherds fanned out across the hills to find grass and water. But the land couldn't feed so many at once. Shepherds started arguing. Hey, that spring is ours. Move your sheep. My goats were here first. Voices rose. Tempers flared. The peace Abram loved began to ripple with little storms of anger. Abram could have said, I'm older, I'm the leader, do what I say. But he didn't. Instead, he invited Lot to talk. Maybe they sat under a shady tree. Maybe they poured cups of cool water from a clay jar. Abram's voice was gentle. Lot, he said, we are family. We shouldn't fight, and our shepherds shouldn't fight. Let's separate so there is peace. If you go left, I will go right. If you go right, I will go left. Do you hear that? That's the sound of wisdom. Abram looked for peace, not for victory. He didn't grab the best for himself. He chose to bless. Lot looked out over the land. His eyes fell on a wide plain, the Jordan Valley, green like a garden after rain. It shimmered with promise. Thick grass, plenty of water. Lot pointed. I'll take that, he said. And Abram? He nodded and smiled. Then I will go the other way. Lot led his flocks toward the green plains, where the grasses swayed like dancers all day long. Abram turned toward the hill country of Canaan, where the land rose and dipped like a sleeping giant's back. It wasn't as obviously lush, but Abram kept walking with the quiet confidence of a man who knew God would keep his word. When Lot was gone and the hills were peaceful again, God spoke to Abram, "Lift up your eyes and look from where you are, north, south, east, and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and to your descendants forever." Abram looked as far as his eyes could see. He saw glints of rivers and goats prancing on rocks. He saw fields that would someday ripple with grain. He saw children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, a family as countless as stars. The promise settled in his heart like a warm blanket. Abram built another altar and worshipped. His thank you was simple, strong, and steady, just like his trust. Let's pause here. Why is Abram's choice so important? Because God had promised to bless him, and Abram's response was to live as a blessing. When conflict showed up, Abram chose peace. He chose generosity. He let Lot choose first. He laid down his me first and picked up you first. And what happened? God reaffirmed his promise. Abram didn't lose by choosing peace. He gained the deeper joy of walking closely with God. This is one of God's beautiful patterns. When we trust him and seek peace, we become a channel of blessing. Blessings don't pool up like water in a bucket. They flow like a stream to others. You might be thinking, I don't have flocks of sheep or a valley to choose. How can I live like Abram? Here are a few ways. When there's one cookie left and your sibling reaches for it, you first. When a friend wants the same swing on the playground, let's take turns. When group work gets tense, let's talk calmly and find a plan that works for everyone. When your heart wants to win an argument, ask, what would bring peace? And choose that. Like Abram, you can look for ways to bless others. That's not being weak. That's being wise and strong. It takes courage to step away from a fight. It takes faith to believe God will take care of you when you're not grabbing the best for yourself. God told Abram, "Through you, all families of the earth will be blessed." That blessing kept traveling forward through time, like light keeps traveling from a star. It didn't stop with Abram. It kept going through his family, through many generations, until it reached Jesus, God's greatest gift to the whole world. And do you know what Jesus said? "Blessed are the peacemakers." When you make peace, you are walking in Abram's footsteps and Jesus' footsteps at the same time. Let's return to our hilltops. Abram's camp is calm. The shepherds no longer argue. At night, the stars swell across the sky like a million tiny lanterns. Abram stands at the door of his tent and looks up. He thinks about God's promise, and his heart smiles. Nearby, Sarah stirs a pot, and the smell of stew drifts through the camp. Lot is far away in the green valley, and Abram prays for him. "Lord, bless Lot too." That's the kind of man Abram is. He doesn't stop loving people just because they've gone a different way. He steps back inside, where the lantern glow is warm. He lays down, staff by his side, and sleeps the sleep of someone who chose peace and trusted God, and found that it was more than enough. What have we learned today? 1. Abram trusted God and had faith to follow him. Abram left his home at 75, traveled where God led, built altars in Canaan, and believed God's promise. His steady trust shows that faith means stepping forward even when the map isn't complete. 2. Abram and Lot found a wise compromise. When their shepherds argued, Abram chose a peaceful solution. He let Lot choose first and took the other path. That's what true wisdom looks like, seeking peace over pride. 3. We please God by living peacefully with others. God blessed Abram, and Abram became a blessing by choosing peace. We can do the same, sharing, taking turns, speaking kindly, and looking for solutions that help everyone. When we live peacefully, we reflect God's heart to the world. Thanks for joining us on this episode of NACIC Bible Stories. We'll see you next time with more stories that bring the Bible to life, just for you. Till we meet again, stay safe and be blessed.